tell me one thing, what do you need from a good mid-range smartphone? A good looking display, good performance, dependable cameras, reliable battery life, and most importantly, an affordable price tag, right? Well, maybe the iQOO Z9s and the Z9s Pro could be the right options for you. Now, whether these are actually good mid-rangers or not, let's find that out in our detailed first impressions made in collaboration with iQOO. Hi, I'm Arshad. You're watching Trakin Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Now, when you look at both these devices, they're definitely good looking, right? I mean, they're definitely one of the better looking phones in this price class. The iQOO Z9s Pro is available in this luxe marble variant, which we tested, and it's got a marble finish, so it does look good. But there's also the other flamboyant orange variant, which is a vegan leather variant, and that's the signature iQOO color, and that also looks very good. And the Z9s that we have for review is actually in a titanium finish, and that looks a little more professional compared to this one, which looks slightly flashier. Now, the in-hand feel of these phones is particularly good, primarily because you've got an extremely slim frame for the kind of battery they're packing inside, 5500 mAh inside both. And despite that, iQOO has managed to keep the weight really low as well. I'm okay with the use of plastic if the phones look like this and if the weight is low. So yeah, it's like pretty good for consumers in the end. The other thing is both these phones come with IP64 rating and short sensation UV protection on the front. Now, one thing I must definitely mention is that the Type-C port at the bottom is USB Type-C 2.0 and not Type-C 3.1, but in this price class, you don't get Type-C 3.1. Now, the design is of course very good, I like it, but it's the display that's even more captivating. Also, primarily because iQOO gets all of the specs right. So what you get on both these phones is a 6.77-inch curved AMOLED panel. Now, I'm not a fan of curved panels, but if you are, you'll definitely appreciate that. And you also get 120Hz refresh rate, 2160Hz PWM dimming as well. Now, the major difference between the two phones when it comes to the display is the fact that the iQOO Z9s Pro has a peak brightness which is higher than the Z9s, which is basically 4500 nits as opposed to 1800 nits on the Z9s. When I was talking about specs, what I meant is that you get the professional tuning within the display itself, so the color accuracy is very close to neutral. But more importantly, when you're watching HDR content, the HDR tuning has been done really well, and you get HDR support on YouTube and on Netflix as well. This is something that's missing on many more expensive phones too. Of course, the design and the display are good, but along with the display, the multimedia experience is also pretty impressive. Primarily because you get proper stereo speakers on both these phones, and you get an audio booster mode which can actually push up the volume to 300%. Of course, that gets too loud, but even at 100%, it's very clean. Take a listen to the audio quality for yourself and let me know what you guys think. Apart from that, we also tried out a USB Type-C dongle with our wired earphones. It works absolutely fine, and you get support for hi-res as well. In fact, you get support for hi-res Bluetooth codecs like LDAC and LHDC as well. So overall, when you look at it, when it comes to the design and the display, iQOO actually doesn't miss a step. This is very well done. Now, talking about performance, the iQOO Z9s Pro comes with the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3, and in the price category that it is operating at, under 23,000, under 22,000 rupees, it is definitely the most powerful processor in its price class, the fastest in the segment. And do you know one of the channels that is the fastest in the segment when it comes to uploading videos on time? Yeah, it's Trakin Tech English. Just kidding, guys. I mean, I'm saying this so I can get you guys to subscribe. That's it, nothing else. I'd like to do these clean segues, but yeah, I mean, go ahead, subscribe, guys. We've hit 600k, so thank you so much for that. If you haven't subscribed to our content, please do. In contrast, the iQOO Z9s has the Dimensity 7300. Now, of course, we ran Antutu on this, so on the iQOO Z9s Pro and the iQOO Z9s, you get a score of over 8 lakh and over 6.99, close to 7 lakh respectively. And the Z9s Pro, I think that it's also suitable for gaming, primarily because we felt that it didn't get too hot in our time, and we noticed that it has a 3000mm square vapor cooling chamber inside. That apart, you also do get an instant touch sampling rate of 2000 Hz, and you've got a dedicated game mode. All of that is there. So we did try out Genshin Impact, where you play the game at highest graphics at 60 frames per second, and we got an average frame rate of 46 FPS. There are 2 variants in the iQOO Z9s Pro and 3 variants in the iQOO Z9s. Now, at least with the iQOO Z9s Pro, I would have liked UFS 3.1, but we'll take this. Now, with respect to connectivity, you get support for 8 5G bands on both these phones. You get support for Bluetooth 5.4, Wi-Fi 6, but there's no NFC. Now, I think that's a very serious miss, because all phones that I think that are launching in India right now should come with NFC. What do you guys think? Alright, let's talk about the cameras on these phones. The iQOO Z9s has a dual camera. You get a 50MP Sony IMX882 and you get a 2MP depth sensor. And on the front, you get a 16MP selfie camera. The Z9s Pro definitely has a better camera setup. So what you get is a 50MP Sony IMX882 and you get an 8MP ultrawide. Also the primary camera comes with optical image stabilization and you also get a 2MP depth camera plus a 16MP selfie camera on the front. Now here's the thing, with the iQOO Z9s we are not running the final software, which is what iQOO told us. So we will refrain from testing the cameras on this one because after the final software it will definitely become better. But what we will talk about is the iQOO Z9s Pro's camera performance. Now the photos taken from the 50MP primary camera of the iQOO Z9s Pro offers great details and the HDR tuning has been done fairly well too. I noticed a good balance of highlight and shadow control. The skin tones are fairly good on the iQOO Z9s Pro, so if you're shooting friends and family, the photos should look good. The portrait mode on the iQOO Z9s Pro is particularly impressive because you get that 2x portrait. Of course, it's digitally cropping in, but the kind of depth mapping that you get, the kind of edge detection that you get is actually pretty good. And of course, the skin tones as usual are pretty close to neutral. The night shots actually look pretty impressive on the Z9s Pro with the super night mode with a good amount of detail, especially for a mid-range phone. Here are some shots for you guys to take a look at. Now the photos from the 8MP ultra-wide angle camera on the iQOO Z9s Pro are like how 8MP cameras generally shoot. They're decent, but the low light performance is kinda average, could have been better. Now the selfie pictures from the iQOO Z9s Pro turned out to be sharp with good dynamic range as well, especially in HDR situations. Now with respect to video recording, you can shoot 4K 30fps videos from the iQOO Z9s Pro's primary camera, and the videos captured have ample details and the microphone captures crystal clear audio. Stabilization is on point too. That's generally true for most iQOO cameras. Now the best thing about the 4K 30fps video is that you can see it from the bitrate itself is that it captures a lot of information. There's a lot of detail that's been captured. There's also an ultra stabilization mode on the Z9s Pro, but that only works at 1080p 30fps. So if you want extremely stable videos, then you might want to use that, but that will be at a lower resolution. Now with the ultrawide and the selfie camera on the Z9s Pro, you can actually shoot 1080p 30fps videos. And of course, like most 1080p 30fps videos, they're usable. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll actually create a G Drive link with all the photos and videos that we captured from this phone and put it in the description. Go ahead and check that out and make, opinions for yourself. Alright, now let's talk about the battery, which I mentioned is 5500 mAh on both these phones. So you can easily expect about a day and a half worth of usage from these phones. But we haven't tested the battery extensively. If you want a detailed, testing of the battery, do let us know. We'll try to do that for you in the review or a comparison that we make with any other phone. Now, apart from that, with respect to charging speeds, you get 80 watt flash charge support for the iQOO Z9s Pro and you get 44 watt flash charge support for the Z9s. And it takes about 45-46 minutes for the iQOO Z9s Pro to charge from 0 to 100%, whereas it takes about 70-75 minutes for the iQOO Z9s. Now, both these phones also support 7.5 watts of reverse charging, which means that you can connect a Type-C port to this and to another phone and it'll, charge that other phone. But I'm very curious, is there anybody in the audience who actually uses this? I would love to know. That about iQOO is also claiming that these batteries are meant for longer usage because iQOO claims that you can get 80% of your battery health still alive after 4 years of usage, which is damn nice. Alright, now let's talk about the software. Of course, you get FunTouch OS 14 based on Android 14, and what iQOO is promising is 2 years software updates and 3 years of security updates. Again, in this price range, 2 years plus 3 years is pretty good. Now the software experience itself is pretty feature rich. You get clone apps, you can record calls. You also get this really cool feature where you can use the teleprompter in the camera app to actually have a prompting sort of mechanism for you so that you can read the script. I'm not doing that right now, but yeah, you can do that on this phone. And there are a couple of AI features and they're specifically related to AI image editing. So you get, AI eraser and AI photo enhance, and both of these features work well. Having said that, the software does come pre-installed with a lot of bloatware apps which you can see for yourself, and you also have hot apps and hot games on by default. There's glance integration as well. There are a lot of dark patterns too, but of course you can uninstall all of these bloatware apps and you can also disable hot apps and hot games. Regardless, functionally, while it's good, FunTouch OS has improved over a period of time. I think the cleanup is the only bit that's pending. Now, apart from these phones, iQOO has also launched their Buds. It's called Buds TWS1E and it comes with 42 hours of total playback time. You get ANC, you get low latency mode, and there's also sound enhancement feature as well. We have not tested it out yet, but this is also launched alongside. Anyway, talking about these phones, I think the S in the name is meant for students, primarily because, these phones actually do feel like they're tailor-made for students.
So, मेरे पास iQOO का 2 नया फ़ोन्स हैं, Z9s and Z9s Pro. तो मैं आप लोगों को ऐसा देता हूँ and you guys देख लो कि कैसा है दोनों phones and tell me how do you like it and tell me what can be the cost of it, okay? Yeah.
बहुत लाइट वेट है, मतलब वेट फील ही नहीं हो रहा इसका, and the display is also nice.
The camera quality is the best and the phone is too good.
Portrait cutouts are good, very good, nice. portraits.
Alright, so from the design, from the display, from the camera quality, आपको क्या लगता है इसका cost क्या हो सकता
Around 50 to 60.
Around 30 to 45.
35-40.
है? The Z9s is under 20,000 and the Z9s Pro is under 25,000.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm shocked.
It's too cost effective and so nice.
I want to buy a new phone. I'm looking for this.
Yeah,
Okay.
See, like I said at the start, you want a good design, you want good battery life, you want good performance, especially, segment leading performance. You also want great cameras, which generally iQOO does. And when you take all of those things into consideration, then, the value proposition that you get with this seems like it's perfect for students who cannot spend a lot on a flagship phone. Talking about value proposition, the iQOO Z9s and the Z9s Pro are priced at 17,999 and 21,999. That is a net effective pricing after all the offers and discounts for the 8 128GB variant. Now, with that said, I definitely want to know one thing from you folks is that do you want a comparison of the iQOO Z9s Pro against the Moto H50 perhaps? Let me know in the comments and we'll try to get that done for you. What do you guys think of these phones, these new iQOO monsters, or they're calling it mega taskers? What do you guys think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.